Hi. Yeah, I'm on the creative train today. But I do think it's good because I want to do relevant things, not just to fill video time. So I wanted to talk about the drama train. Um, and it could be relevant to anybody, really. It doesn't have to be autistic, although I think sometimes we can be caught on that because of upsetting things that happen, say, and how misunderstood we can be. Um, so it can happen. And I was on it at one point, and I am not dismissing if somebody has triggered you purposefully, which can happen as well sometimes, or mistakenly. And it can be hard to spot the difference. You're going to go on the drama train anyway because it's your upsetting thing and it's being like prodded in the same place over and over again, and that just hurts, and it's just going to make you. I've got my triggers still, some of them, so I do know what it's like when you see that red and you're. But I also know about the drama train. And when you kind of have experienced an emotional roller coaster growing up, it's really hard to get off that train, even when you're not in a situation that is producing that emotional roller coaster. Your body and mind can get used to a certain behaviour and it can create it all on its own in the end. This is what I experienced anyway. So growing up, there was an awful lot of unhealthy behaviours and really, it's emotionally unintelligent reactions to things that were happening, say, around me. And when you go through certain traumas, you can become emotionally unintelligent for a while because your brain's confused. So you're going to be, and it's not somebody's fault. If you've got someone there to sit down and talk to you about it, then we can learn and adapt. Otherwise, you've got to find it out yourself, which can be hard when you're on, emotional state. But there were some quite unhealthy mechanisms that happened whilst I was growing up that created me to be. I saw my caregivers behave in ways that weren't, the right way to really react or behave. And I kind of would have mimicked mine. In some ways not. It was like things, no, there's no way I'd ever do that. And I think so, as generations go on, I think, and we're becoming more intelligent, I think we'll be moving away from some of those things. But some families, that kind of history will continue for a bit. And it's difficult because what you can do is you can adopt your caregivers or the people around you or whatever, or your influences. You can adopt some of their behaviours because maybe they're more powerful, because you haven't felt in a powerful place. So I was on a drama train, so I would create drama. Because I was used to it being around me. I didn't feel settled when it was peaceful. I remember that. I was like, oh, this isn't right. And I think it was probably worrying about the next bit of drama happening or something, so I'd create it. I'd create this, and I didn't know I was doing it. Not until I had my, what you could call a sabbatical, I suppose, a realisation about the drama train and how when it's not there and you're used to it, it's sort of addictive. That drama gives you power and a sense of authority sometimes, particularly if you've been in situations you feel powerless. Then being righteous and having that sort of thing, I remember it, and you're just like, and I used it sometimes for good because I'd protest against some things and the environment and everything like that. So this is it can be used for good. Like I said, we can use some of these gifts for good, but it's recognising if you're staying on the drama train, and the drama train You can wonder why you're in a state of chaos. And I knew I was in a state of chaos when I was on my drama train because I was creating it. I was so used to living in that drama. I mean, from when I was really young, chaos all the way through growing up into the teenage years, into my 20s, there was still chaos, but I didn't create it, it was created. And then when I left that situation, I was still kind of like thing, and I didn't recognize it until I was told it was out of it, and I realized, oh, okay. So sometimes people will create that sort of chaos in you. They'll purposefully, passively, aggressively sort of create a trigger in you to get a reaction so they can argue with you because they're angry about something, so they want to argue. See, it's a complex thing. But when you're around that and you can't recognize it, you just think, what the heck is going on? I remember thinking that, and then because I had time of peace on my own with my cat, I kind of realised what this thing was and what this interaction had become. And I was also on this drama train, and I thought, oh, I'm blooming getting off this train. So eventually I kind of realised you can gain your you sort of kind of like a validation for yourself from elsewhere and your power from elsewhere, but it's learning and getting off the train. But it's going to be difficult when you have people around you who are on that train as well, and they're people who are close to you. It's difficult to separate yourself from the drama train. I don't know if you've ever noticed, I had many people around me who would create it daily, really. And what it is was they had unsolved issues within themselves and anger issues about what's happened in the past. And it was some people intellectually can't really get into that point. What is it that's causing me to want to lash out at people, you know? And some of it is a past anger, and you know, rightly so for some, because you know, you've had that you got a resentment towards because you're not being listened to and things, and these things can happen. But I just wanted to point out the fact that we can become on a drama train where we'll wonder why we're in a peaceful situation, but then we're still creating these sort of situations. But it's still a way of us wanting to get out our feelings, and might be something we've learned. It's more learned behaviour, and our bodies get used to certain paths. This is why depression can be hard to leave sometimes, because you're used to that path that your brain wants to think at. And when you have a reaction to something, your brain will go back to what is the reaction to this situation, and so it will just take you back to that situation, the one that you know and familiar with, rather than one that might be helpful to you. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the drama train. Okay, bye.